Chapter 81 3 Ruthless Men Come Out. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 81 3 Major Hurdles. Tiantai Peak, the back mountain, is in a dark cave. A deep roar resounded. The sound was low, deep, sonorous and powerful, like the moo of a beast in the wilderness, or the roar of a violent beast. A sound wave swept across, the air shook, and a terrifying sound appeared. Ripple, under these low roars, the faces of the dead soldiers who came to deliver the message changed with shock, and they did not dare to step in rashly. After a long time, the roar inside stopped. Then, a deep voice came, "You have been waiting for 3 full hours. Tell me, what's the matter?" That the dead soldier was shocked and said, "Lone Wolf, have you mastered the magic power, that there is no farewell in the cave, a lone wolf?" Lone Wolf said solemnly, "Yes, after 50 years of seclusion, until just now, I finally mastered this magic skill." Speaking of this, he suddenly expected something and said coldly, "But you don't go to the 3 treasures hall for nothing. What big thing happened in the Peak? You really know what's going to happen?" "It's going to be a big deal." That the dead man walked in and told everything about what happened tonight, not sparing any detail. After learning the situation, Lone Wolf's eyes suddenly turned cold. His pupils were blue, looking particularly cold and ruthless in the darkness. These wolf eyes. He is a powerful monk who transformed into a wolf demon king. Crack! That the Lone Wolf twisted his neck, making a crackling sound in his bones and joints, and said scornfully, "What a master! How can he break into the Soul Lantern Palace and start killing people? He is very strong. Even the old Bing woman's hand can't restrain him." That the soldier's teeth itched and he said bitterly, "So my lord changed his target and prepared to kill Ye Qingyao, and one of those 2 at Luofeng is bound to die." That the Lone Wolf walked into the cave, stared at the Pear Blossom Peak in the dark night from a distance, and sneered, "What kind of master? In my opinion, it's just a vain name. Tell the Lord and let him wait for my good news." Here, that at the same time as the Lone Wolf was moving, at the foot of Tiantai Peak, there was an inconspicuous thatched hut. A majestic and tall young man with mountain-like chest muscles slowly opened his eyes. The eyes were pitch black as ink, with no pupils, as if there was darkness and nothingness, empty and deep. At this time, opposite him, a dead soldier was kneeling. This dead soldier commander's status as a dead soldier can be said to be extremely noble. He is wearing armor and carrying a sword at his waist. However, in front of, he can only kneel obediently, with cold sweat breaking out on his head, feeling extremely nervous. Pressure. How can it be enough to just kill Ye Qingyao? Why don't I kill her, Su Chang'e, and that master together later? Has no name, only the number, Nirvana. It means ruthlessly destroying others in a dead silence. While speaking, there was a hint of arrogance in the corner of his mouth, as if he had disdain for that master. "My lord, be careful when doing things. Kill Ye Qingyao first, and wait for my lord's orders on other matters," that the leader of the dead soldiers said in a deep voice. "You are just a master, why should you be so cautious?" Jiemie sneered and said nothing. He suddenly picked up a huge black gold trident beside him and said, "I hope that master won't let me down." Immediately, ripples appeared in the void, and his figure merged with the void and disappeared. At the same time, deep in Tiantai Peak, there was a dark secret room. This secret chamber is made of gold and iron. It is extremely strong and is as unbreakable as a copper wall or an iron wall, but at this moment, there was a sudden loud explosion, and the secret room was broken through from the inside, and was abruptly deformed, with a fist mark protruding, followed by several loud bangs. Several huge fist marks also appeared in other parts of the secret room, and finally broke through and exploded to pieces. 50 years. The Sa family's strength has greatly increased this time, far beyond what it was before. That a fat monk walked out of the secret room, carrying a sharp and huge water-milled Zen staff. Violent fluctuations were rolling around his body, and his breath was like a dragon, extremely fierce. He has a fat head and big ears, a strong back and a strong waist, and his spine is like a relic. Breaking waves. He was originally a Buddhist cultivator, but he practiced the Vajra way of killing. He advocated using violence to fight violence and evil to fight evil. Kill everything. Next to the secret room, a dead soldier knelt there respectfully. When he came, he had already explained the matter to Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan glanced at him and laughed. Look at what the Sa family is capable of. After he left, the dead soldier hurried back to resume his life. The news quickly spread throughout Tiantai Peak. When many dead soldiers received the news, their expressions changed. They gasped, and said in shock, "Hiss! Lone Wolf! Nirvana! Oh my God! And Xuanhuan! These three ruthless men are all trying to kill the master of a peak. The Lord has been cruel this time." Not too far away, there is Tiantai Peak and Tiezhua Bridge. There was a fluctuation in the void, and three terrifying figures suddenly appeared, sneaking towards the other end of the bridge with ease. In the dark night, there is no light everywhere, the iron-lock bridge trembles slightly, the undercurrent surges, and the murderous intention lurks. On the other side of the bridge is Lihua Peak. At the same time, in Lihua Peak and the small courtyard, Ye Qingyao was sleeping deeply. Little did he know that he was being targeted by all three. Window, _Tabula equals window, _Tabula, push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, Tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 82, Stimulate the Potential in the Body. Divine Martial Realm. Kill Jiemie. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Schwa. In front of the courtyard, a figure came in an instant. He was dressed in white and was not stained with dust. It was Su Chang'e. After he left Bingyu's hand calmly, he came back here directly. When he passed by the courtyard, he stopped, his eyes slightly fixed, and said, "Is Du Sihai's cultivation so high? I have reached so many levels, but I can't sense his breath. That Bingyu is even stronger than him. These villains are all very powerful." Speaking of this, he suddenly had a flash of inspiration and understood something. A long time ago, the sect was a huge force at the level of a holy land. Even if it retreats behind the scenes now, many newly promoted holy lands are terrified. In this way, you can imagine how strong a peak level should be. It seems that I need to improve my cultivation quickly. Not only to kill Du Sihai, but also for the martial arts competition. Su Chang'e's eyes lit up when he thought of the martial arts competition. The sect is full of geniuses and masters. If I can improve my cultivation to the level that can kill the peak level, then it will be easy to crush those geniuses. It can be called violent sweep. Improve my cultivation, then why not absorb all the remaining spirit stones? He thought and entered the system space. He had absorbed enough before, but the number of spirit stones was too many, so he didn't absorb them all. Xiao Shi felt him coming in, turned into a human form, and murmured, "Yeah." Su Chang'e smiled at her, and then didn't want to waste time, and walked straight to the spirit stone. Looking around, countless glittering spiritual stones were piled up like a mountain. He placed his palm on the pile of spiritual stones, and with a hum, the light of the spiritual stones faded rapidly, and all the spiritual energy inside was absorbed by him and entered his body. For a moment, Su Chang'e only felt the overwhelming spiritual energy pouring into his body, running around in his body. After a while, a huge amount of spiritual energy was transformed into pure power. Crack! Suddenly there was an explosion, and the shackles of the Tao Palace realm in his body were violently broken by the rolling spiritual energy and smashed to pieces by the impact. In an instant, his cultivation level soared. The human body contains countless potential, which will not be developed before the Void Realm. Once the shackles of the Void Realm are broken, this potential will be fully stimulated. Once stimulated, the cultivation will enter a new level. This level is the Void God Realm. The Void God Realm is completely different from the other realms before. If the previous realms have improved in quantity, then the Void God Realm has improved in quality. Quantitative change leads to qualitative change, and this improvement is undoubtedly terrifying. There are 6 realms in the Void God, namely, Shenwu Realm, Shentong Realm, Shengang Realm, Shenwei Realm, Shenyu Realm, and Shenluo Realm. Boom! 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 A series of breakthrough explosions sounded one after another. driven by a huge amount of spirit stones, Xuanhuan's cultivation stimulated the potential in his body in one fell swoop, broke through the Tao Palace, and stepped into the first realm of the Void God realm. The first level of the Xuanhu realm. The third level of the Xuanhu realm. The fifth level of the Xuanhu realm. The first level of the Xuanhu realm. The ninth level of the Xuanhu realm. In just a few moments, Xuanhuan's cultivation entered the ninth level of Xuanhu. He took a deep breath and carefully checked his changes. He grew a lot taller, heroic and handsome, with a body line that looked unparalleled, a handsome face, sword eyebrows and star eyes, like a work of art carved by a god himself. The huge power in his body reached 13 million caddies. Just by raising one realm, the strength increased by 3 million. It can be called a terrifying increase. But such a terrifying increase requires a huge amount of resources. Xuanhu suddenly discovered that in just this one realm, all the spirit stones had been absorbed, leaving only a few scattered top-grade spirit stones. "My man, you are so handsome," Xiaoshi looked at him in a daze, with fluorescent eyes flowing. It was not until her eyes stayed on Xuanhu for several breaths that she realized that she was infatuated with him and quickly came back to her senses. It must be said that the changes brought by the virtual god realm are really huge. It made her excited and her heart beat wildly. Soon, Xiaoshi came to Xuanhu, bent down, held up his hand, and sniffed his palm to recognize the new smell. Xuanhu let her smell it like this. His eyes swept over her graceful waist, smiled slightly, and said, "You should improve your cultivation." Xiaoshi's cultivation is only in the acquired realm. Although the bloodline suppression is very strong, it is too embarrassing to say that it is only acquired, so Xuanhu plans to help her improve it. After all, Xiaoshi is strong, just like himself. Moreover, in the martial arts competition, the demon beasts are only a part of the strength, so she must be supplied. "Well, my friend, I'll wait for you." Xiaoshi opened her pearly teeth lightly, and her voice was clear and pleasant. Xuanhu smiled lightly and said, "It won't be long before your cultivation will soar." Xiaoshi is already very strong in the postnatal realm. If his cultivation soars, I don't know how terrifying it will be. Thinking of this, Xuanhu felt very happy. At this moment, he suddenly sensed something and frowned. There seems to be someone outside. In his perception, it seemed that 3 people came to the gate of the courtyard, and each of them had a terrifying aura fluctuation. This fluctuation is extremely unusual. Coming fiercely and murderously. There is trouble coming. Xuanhu's mind moved, and he instantly exited the system space and appeared outside. He did not alert the enemy, but lurked in the shadows. In the darkness, 3 burly figures approached from afar, at a very fast speed, walking like the wind, with strong true energy like a tsunami, and the strong wind was hissing. "Ha ha ha, I've heard that Lihua Peak is extremely beautiful, especially those 2 long white legs. Oh my god, it really makes me itch. Now I'm taking advantage of this opportunity. Hee hee. Monk, why don't you restrain yourself?" "I won't restrain myself. Don't pretend to be noble with me. To be honest, I've been in seclusion for 50 years and I'm almost sick. Have you never thought about women?" The 3 of them talked and laughed all the way, approaching inch by inch. When Xuanhu heard this, his eyes suddenly turned cold, and his pupils burst out with extreme hatred. The anger in his chest was burning. These people actually turned their attention to the beautiful master. "Damn, you're looking for death. The beautiful master is like him. No one can take her away, and she has a reverse scale. Whoever touches her will die." Crack! Xuanhu clenched his fists fiercely, but did not attack rashly, because he found that these people had extremely strong cultivation. We have to outsmart them. With a whoosh, his figure quietly appeared behind one of them. That person was looking for Jiemie. Under the pale moonlight, a black shadow suddenly appeared behind Jiemie's head, followed by a dazzling sword light that flashed by and disappeared in a flash. The Big Dipper sword cut through bones like cutting paper, and cut through the back of Jiemie's head. Jiemie's steps suddenly stopped, his face turned pale in an instant, and his body froze in place, as if he was frozen. "Jiemie, why don't you leave?" The fat monk had a fat head and big ears, and he obviously didn't understand that something was wrong. The lone wolf asked in confusion at this time, Jiemie, what's wrong with you? The next moment, half of Jiemie's head suddenly slid forward, emitting a pungent bloody smell, and then fell to the ground with a bang. Bang! The sound of a heavy object falling to the ground was heard in the quiet night. The sound was not loud, but it hit the fat monk's heart like a heavy hammer. Hiss. Jiemie, dead. P.S. I saw that many book friends pointed out that this book has many small bugs, typos and shortcomings. Admittedly, I sometimes rush to finish the manuscript and make mistakes, but it doesn't matter. I will humbly accept your opinions and suggestions. In addition, I hope that when you see bugs, typos and shortcomings, please leave a message under that paragraph. I will revise them one by one after I see them. Welcome to criticize them vigorously. In addition, I will read and reply to almost every comment, and update at 6 a.m. today. Chapter 83 Ye Qingyao, Who is that figure in white? You are listening at novelfull.audio. In an instant, the fat monk and lone wolf's eyelids twitched and they were shocked. Someone actually killed Nirvana silently. Who? Who is it? Who has such great ability? Okay. There is a ghost here, the lone wolf exclaimed, his eyes quickly scanning the surroundings and becoming extremely cautious. The fat monk's pupils suddenly condensed, his eyes bulging around, and he observed his surroundings vigilantly, but they observed for a long time, and there was no movement around them. Everything seemed calm. The lone wolf sniffed it, suddenly enlightened, and exclaimed, yes. It's a shadow. Pay attention to the shadow, that he was in the form of a wolf and had a very keen sense of smell. He smelled the human scent in the shadow, which made him figure out in an instant that the problem was in the shadow. After hearing this, the fat monk reacted and hurriedly struck out with a palm towards his own shadow. A roar of thunder suddenly erupted from his body, and he shouted, Lone wolf, this person is very strange. Please keep your hands, hurry up. Go to hell. He has quick eyesight and quick hands, and he uses his trump card as soon as he comes in, directly launching the killing cage. The lone wolf reacted slowly, waved his hand, and a strange force burst out, directly imprisoning his own shadow. Xuanhuan suddenly felt as if he was enclosed in a certain space. There seemed to be an invisible cage in the air, covering him inside. The next moment, there was a crackling sound in the air, and the air was compressed layer by layer. Although the killing cage requires one person to execute, 2 people can activate it, but the power is slightly lower. As they urged, Xuanhuan felt the cage shrinking little by little. A tyrannical force was like walls visible from all sides, squeezing towards him from all directions, trying to squeeze him out. Oh. This is interesting. He laughed in surprise, but he didn't expect that the other party would use this method. His physical body is invincible, and the body of a saint is crushed by him. Originally, Xuanhuan felt that this man was tyrannical and might use some killing methods that he had not expected, so be careful and sail the ship of 10,000 years, who knows which one of them is the strongest, and which one they prefer to use to squeeze themselves. It's really a reverse attack. Thinking of this, he simply showed up. The fat monk and lone wolf suddenly saw a figure in white emerging from the shadows. Just say the problem is in the shadow. The lone wolf exhaled a breath of evil and said angrily. As he spoke, he violently activated the killing cage to the extreme. The fat monk sneered, and together with the lone wolf, activated the killing cage. Suddenly, Xuanhuan felt that the air around him was being compressed rapidly, and the space became smaller and smaller. After a breath, a restraining force approached the vital gate. Bang! 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 Under the strong pressure, there were bursts of explosions. When the explosion disappeared, Xuanhuan was fine, but the killing cage was broken. Xuanhuan's powerful body was forced to burst. Fuck! Lone Wolf was shocked. What kind of body is this riding horse? Eat a Zen staff. The fat monk reacted quickly and waved the stainless steel Zen staff. He exerted all his strength, the wind whistled, and he swung the thick and sharp Zen staff towards Xuanhuan. Bang! The Zen staff slashed hard at Xuanhuan, causing sparks to fly out. The fat monk felt a powerful shock coming from him. His shoulders were so shaken that his bones and muscles were numb. He couldn't hold it back and flew backwards. The moment he flew out, the lone wolf's pupils shrank sharply and shouted, "Okay. Pay attention to the shadow." That the fat monk was shocked, but his body was flying out under control. How could he attack and kill the high-speed moving shadow? His shadow was flying backwards as he flew outwards. With a swish sound, a figure emerged from the shadow, and the Big Dipper sword came out, piercing the fat monk's throat with one sword. Well. Just as the fat monk let out a painful scream, the Big Dipper sword swung outward, knocking his head off on the spot. A series of operations were performed smoothly and swiftly, which shocked Lone Wolf. His expression changed drastically, and he immediately walked away. "Want to leave?" Su Chang'e smiled coldly, moved directly into his shadow, and stabbed him with the same sword. Crack! There was a sound of gold and iron clashing, and the Big Dipper sword stabbed a piece of golden armor. The armor lasted for half a second before being pierced, reaching Lone Wolf's heart. Pfft! A sword pierces the heart. Streams of blood seeped out. Are you that master? We were wrong." Before the Lone Wolf finished speaking, he rolled his eyes and died. He just felt like he could kill this master instantly, but now, he was killed instantly by the other party before he could even finish his words, which made him feel extremely aggrieved. Su Chang'e groped around for a while and got a yellowed scripture. Afterwards, he went to Fat Monk and Duan Langshan to explore for a while, and finally got 2 space rings. Just when he had just finished searching, the door of the small courtyard suddenly opened with a pop. Ye Qingyao walked out. "Huh?" Su Chang'e's eyes narrowed, and with a thought in his mind, the figure suddenly disappeared. He teleported into Ye Qingyao's shadow. So far away, Ye Qingyao just saw a figure in white. It looked so real, and she murmured, "Is it him again?" That she was awakened by the sound of fighting and hurriedly came out to check, but when she came out, the battle was over, and she saw the figure in white far away, as if searching for loot. She walked forward and quickly recognized the murdered man. Obviously, this person came to kill her, but he was killed by the figure in white again. "Who is that figure? Why did you save me twice?" Ye Qingyao murmured to himself. Somehow, the figure of Su Chang'e suddenly appeared in his mind, dressed in white, chic and unrestrained. Could it be Taifeng, Soul Lamp Hall? Hiss. Hold. Fuck it. Du Sihai felt like he was on a roller coaster. He flew into a rage, cursed loudly, and smashed everything in the palace. There were broken cups, tables and chairs everywhere. When Duanlong and the others set off, he had been paying close attention to their soul lanterns, then, watching their soul lamps grow from strong to weak, and then extinguished with a schwa sound. His expression suddenly changed drastically. There is no doubt that Duanlong and the others were killed together. He was so cunning that he immediately guessed that it must be the master who took action. Hiss. Du Sihai shuddered hard and said in a voiceless voice, "How strong is that master?" That the faces of many dead warrior commanders in the field changed. They were shocked, and they gasped for air. Even that person was killed. That master's strength was probably extremely strong. "Lord, if you want, forget it." A dead soldier commander spoke in a trembling voice. The words just fell. Crack. A cruel slap penetrated the air, instantly breaking all his front teeth. His face was covered with blood, and he fell to the ground. Du Sihai roared angrily, "How dare you swallow this? Let this go for now, and wait for my brother Du Zhan to come back and kill him." At the other side, at Lihua Peak, Ye Qingyao quickly came to his senses, opened and closed his red lips, and said nervously, "Okay. I have to go see my disciple quickly." That with a swish sound, she walked towards Su Chang'e's residence. Chapter 84 Great Harvest, Killing Cage Secret Book, Cicada Wing Chain Armor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Su Chang'e couldn't help but frown when he heard that she was looking for him. If the beautiful master found out that she was not in the hut, then, thinking of this, he quietly left the shadow, teleported to the shadow of the big tree, and then rushed back to the hut. Soon, Su Chang'e went through the shadows and returned to the hut. At this time, because it was late at night, Su Lianyue had fallen asleep. The corner of the quilt on her legs fell to the ground, and most of her long white legs were exposed. Xuanhuan gently closed the door and tucked the corner of the quilt for her. Later, he was sitting cross-legged, and suddenly an idea came to his mind, and he said to himself, "Master hasn't arrived yet, so I might as well take this time to check the harvest. When she arrives, I can just swipe the subsidy." That he did it, and he took out the storage ring he had just searched from that person. Open the first ring. There are many red pills inside, with a captivating pressure. The pills used by the magic path. That the ring is full of magic pills, all of which are magic healing pills. Open the second ring. There are two things inside, a magic secret book and a golden armor cast from pure gold. There is a name on the cover of the magic secret book, Killing Cage. Xuanhuan took a look and was immediately ecstatic. This should be the killing mace they used against me just now. But now, it belongs to me. Great! Great! Then, he took another look at the armor, and his eyes suddenly lit up. I don't know what this armor is called, but from the appearance, I know it is a treasure. The surface of the armor was covered with golden light, and the dazzling light was blooming, just like the ethereal and boundless Tao rhyme, surrounding the armor, layer upon layer, extremely rich, and there was also an ancient breath like a meteor passing by, brilliant and dazzling. Xuanhuan didn't recognize this armor, and suddenly had an idea, planning to ask the Dark Soul Emperor to help. Moreover, he was still counting on the Dark Soul Emperor to cut off the fate line on it and recast it into another armor. Half a piece of spirit stone was placed on the jade bracelet. With a swish, the spirit stone disappeared, and the figure of the Dark Soul Emperor emerged. The Dark Soul Emperor took a deep breath of fresh air, savoring it endlessly, and said, "It feels so good to wake up." Xuanhuan rolled his eyes, but soon said calmly, "Senior, I need your help with something." Hearing this, the Dark Soul Emperor took a look at the golden armor, his face suddenly changed, and he said in a low voice, "This, young man, you can actually get such a treasure, huh?" Xuanhuan knew that he would definitely be able to see it, and suddenly he was delighted and asked, "Senior, what treasure is this?" "This thing is called cicada wing chain armor. It looks heavy, but it feels as light as a cicada wing when worn, and it has extremely strong defense. If you wear it on your body, it is equivalent to you practicing a powerful physical body domineering technique." So scary. Xuanhuan was overjoyed. "Young man, do you know the 9 dragons hegemon body art? I was able to get this item back then, so I didn't have to practice the 9 dragons hegemon body art so hard. To be honest, it took me 100 years to finally practice the 9 dragons hegemon body art to the top level, and the physical strength was so terrifying. But as you can see, wearing this thing is equivalent to my 100 years of hard practice. It's really, comparing people makes people angry." That the Dark Soul Emperor felt deeply hit in his heart. Xuanhuan's mouth corner secretly raised a strange arc, and then said, "Senior, please help me cut off the fate line of the original owner above, and then recast it into another armor." "It's a small matter, it's all a small matter." That the Dark Soul Emperor was happy and his face was flushed, and he was happy for Xuanhuan from the bottom of his heart, but in fact, he was happy for himself. No matter how terrifying the treasure Xuanhuan got, in the end, it was all his, right? Thinking of this, his face became more and more excited, complacent, and then he raised a finger, and his fingertips lightly touched the cicada wing chain armor. A dull sound rang out, and Duanlang's fate line was completely cut off. Then, the Dark Soul Emperor waved his hand, and the vast pressure gushed out. The cicada wing chain armor instantly twisted and deformed, and was compressed into a ball of pure golden fine iron. This fine iron was shining with golden light, and it was as bright as day in the room. It was obvious at a glance that it was an excellent material. Xuanhuan was overjoyed and very happy. The better the material, the more valuable the cast will be. After giving it away, the subsidy will definitely be more awesome. The Dark Soul Emperor's palms kept slapping, hitting the fine iron horizontally, and recasting the armor. In just a few breaths, a brand new armor was recast. Xuanhuan looked around and saw that the new armor was made of pure gold, shining brightly, as if it were God's armor. Suddenly, a ray of light flashed through the armor, and in an instant, the hut was filled with rays of light, and endless mysterious patterns on the armor emerged, radiating mysterious light, as bright as stars, extremely dazzling. Ha ha ha, in my heyday, I have been looking for materials of this level to create a peerless armor, but I have never found it in my life. Now, I finally found it. Ha ha ha, that the Dark Soul Emperor slapped his thigh and laughed happily. Su Chang'e asked, what kind of armor is this? That the Dark Soul Emperor was so happy that he smiled and shouted excitedly, this is the heart armor of chaos. It has an extremely strong defense. Once you put it on, your body will reach an extraordinary level, fearless of all swords and guns, and even fearless of the thunder of the heavenly tribulation. Damn, so strong. Su Chang'e was so happy. He knew that when a cultivator reaches a bottleneck, he will go through the tribulation. The thunder of the heavenly tribulation can cause serious injuries to people at the least, and even death and soul scattering. His body has become holy, and his body is unparalleled. If he wears this thing again, it will be even stronger, like a tiger with wings. In the future, going through the thunder tribulation will be like playing. But he will naturally not use this thing himself. Wouldn't it be nice to get a subsidy? Thinking of this, Su Chang'e was extremely happy and extremely happy. He was happy here, and the Dark Soul Emperor was happier than him. Tears of joy are about to fall. He looked at Su Chang'e with burning eyes, and felt that he had really picked up a treasure. Fortunately, I met this boy, so I could get such a terrifying refined iron and forge such a terrifying treasure armor. When the day comes to take over the body, this thing will be mine. Look, I just need to stay dormant quietly, hee. As soon as these thoughts flashed through his mind, the figure of the Dark Soul Emperor suddenly dimmed a lot, like a residual lamp, blown out. This made him look stunned, and he said in a low voice, oh no, my spiritual power is insufficient again, I will go back to the bracelet to sleep first. Young man, you must speed up your practice and strive to break through to a higher realm as soon as possible. Before he finished speaking, he couldn't hold on and fell into a deep sleep. At the moment he disappeared, a burst of footsteps suddenly sounded outside. Then, Ye Qingyao's voice sounded. Disciple, are you in there? Chapter 85 Ye Qingyao, Disciple, the treasures you gave me are becoming more and more powerful. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ye Qingyao's worried heart almost rose to her throat. That ruthless man went to assassinate her, but for some reason the man in white saved her many times. But the disciple can't be saved. Therefore, she was worried whether there would be others coming to assassinate her disciple. Right now, she was standing in front of Su Chang'e's door. She was extremely nervous, her heart was racing, and she didn't dare to open the door. She was afraid that when she opened the door, she would see a room full of blood. Suddenly, a familiar voice came from inside. Master, I'm here. The voice was not loud, but it was like a reassurance, resounding in Ye Qingyao's heart. Call. Ye Qingyao breathed a long sigh of relief, and suddenly felt a trance in his heart, feeling extremely lucky. Squeak. Su Chang'e opened the door and looked at her with a smile on his face. Ye Qingyao was very excited. She rushed forward and hugged him tightly. Her fair hands hugged his waist tightly and said in a trembling voice, as long as it's okay, it's okay. At this moment, she suddenly noticed something. The disciple's height seems to be higher than before. I vaguely remember that when I hugged him before, I reached his chin, but why is it touching his chest now? Disciple, have you grown taller? As soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly noticed that Su Chang'e's face was more handsome than before. His face was like a crown, his eyes were like stars, and he was handsome and graceful, like a good young man in a troubled world. He is even more handsome than before. At this moment, she suddenly felt shocked and discovered something even more surprising. The disciple is dressed in white and looks very similar to the figure in white just now. Just thinking about it. Su Chang'e smiled lightly and said, Master, what's wrong with you? Why are you so excited? Ye Qingyao stood on tiptoes, held his face with a pair of flawless white hands, looked at him carefully, and after a long time, said, No. It's okay. That figure in white, is that him? She couldn't believe it, shook her head violently, and said, Disciple, just now there was a ruthless man from Tiantai Peak who sneaked into Lihua Peak to kill me, but later, someone rescued me. Did you have a killer here? Did I protect you? They didn't kill me. Su Chang'e knew it and shook his head slowly. It's fine if there's no. Ye Qingyao breathed a long sigh of relief, and suddenly had a flash of inspiration, and said again, don't move here for now, I'll come back as soon as I go. Su Chang'e asked in confusion, Master, where are you going? Law Enforcement Palace. Ye Qingyao's voice was fierce and cold, and he said, Tiantai Peak sent, but unfortunately, they failed. I'm going to the law enforcement hall to report them. Su Chang'e shook his head and said with a smile, Master, it's just a waste of time if you go. Ye Qingyao's expression froze and he asked in confusion, why? Su Chang'e secretly pointed it out, if they dare to kill, they must have made preparations in advance. Maybe Du Hai has bribed the law enforcement hall long ago, and they are now a group. Ye Qingyao suddenly realized, these bastards. Master, follow me first. Su Chang'e took her hand, led her to a nearby stone, let her sit on his lap, then put his arm around her waist and said, Master, I have a small opportunity here. I'll give it to you. Take it. He took out the Hungry Heart armor and placed it on Ye Qingyao's hand. Ye Qingyao's expression suddenly changed, she was shocked. This armor seems to be an extremely terrifying treasure, that she only took one look and immediately concluded that this was a defensive treasure. Su Chang'e helped her take off her coat and put on the armor thoughtfully. For a moment, the armor flashed with light and automatically transformed into a thin neon feather coat, as if it was tailor-made for Ye Qingyao. It was just the right size and very decent. A treasure of this level can automatically adjust its appearance and size according to the body and gender of the wearer. The neon dress on her upper body immediately made her graceful figure even more graceful. The whole body stood tall and graceful, like a peerless beauty, graceful and graceful. This, disciple, the baby you gave me is getting more and more powerful. Ye Qingyao's red lips twitched, and a warm current suddenly emerged in her heart. She felt moved and felt that her disciple was getting better and better towards her. Master, the sheep have the kindness of kneeling down to breastfeed, and the crows have the kindness of feeding back. You are very kind to your disciple. You let your disciple hold your thigh and eat a whole meal of soft rice. Now that your disciple has been given many opportunities, he will definitely repay you. Su Chang'e touched her pretty face and said with a smile, an animal is like this, let alone, don't you think so, Master? Ye Qingyao felt warm and happy after hearing what he said, but the next moment, she suddenly remembered that ruthless thing, and suddenly became worried, and said, you gave me such a defensive treasure, what should you do? Su Chang'e smiled faintly, me. I'll just do whatever I want. Ye Qingyao's cherry mouth suddenly opened wide and she was greatly shocked. My disciple is so kind to me, but he treats me so casually. She murmured in her heart, feeling that her disciple's words were like the warm wind of winter, injecting into her heart. She was deeply moved and burst into tears. Suddenly, her face burst into tears, and the tears of emotion fell down. She hugged Su Chang'e's neck fiercely and said, wow, disciple, you are so good to me, woo. With such a close distance, Su Chang'e could clearly feel that her breath was like blue, and a stream of heat suddenly flowed through her neck, which was Ye Qingyao's deeply moved tears. Okay, Master, don't cry. Su Chang'e patted her back and said softly, Master is so beautiful, it doesn't look good when she cries. I know, but I can't help it. Disciple, you are so kind to me. I am so touched. Ye Qingyao's heart surged, like a lake as flat as a mirror filled with layers of meagerness. Her heart was full of grateful joy. She couldn't help herself, and her tears fell involuntarily. Su Chang'e said no more, but held her tightly in his arms. Time and space seemed to be frozen at this moment. At this moment, Ye Qingyao felt that her heart was like a broken river bed, nourished by the trickling warm current. There seemed to be a warm current flowing through her heart. Those were the words of her disciple. I'll just do whatever I want. What an understatement, but it is full of his deep love for him. Although it is not an alliance, it is thousands of times warmer than an alliance. I will cherish this love. Ye Qingyao hugged him tightly, her heart filled with emotions, continuous affection and long-lasting love. It took a long time before she was willing to leave. I'm going back first. This is a Mandarin duck talisman. There are male and female pairs. It can be used to transmit sounds. If something happens to you, I will sense it immediately and come to save you. Ye Qingyao took out a pendant and handed it to Su Chang'e. Su Chang'e took it in his hand and said, "Thank you, master." Ye Qingyao hugged him again, this time for a long time. Then she wiped away her tears and left reluctantly. She had just left, and in Su Chang'e's mind, the system subsidy had arrived on time. Bite. P.S. The author would like to ask, is this chapter good to read? Chapter 86 Critical Hit Reward. Panlong Black Gold Armor. Activate the Saint's Body. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 86 Critical Hit Reward. Panlong Black Gold Armor. Activate the Holy Body, Ding. You sent a piece of Xuanhuan protective armor, 10 billion subsidy effect, triggering super critical hit. This super critical hit multiple, 419,000 times. Congratulations to the host for obtaining, Panlong Black Gold Armor. Panlong Black Gold Armor. Su Chang'e's head moved, and he said to himself, it should be awesome from the name, that he didn't expect that this was Panlong and Black Gold, and the name was so grand, so if it wasn't awesome, it would definitely not work. You know, the treasure you just sent was Xuanhuan protective armor, so now with such a high multiple of critical hits, the subsidy you got back is garbage. I won't believe it even if I die. Thinking of this, he took out the armor, he looked down and jumped with excitement. He saw that the object was covered with black gold, shining with pure and dazzling light, and the surface was flowing with rich Tao rhyme, like a layer of clouds, misty, floating and lingering around the armor. In addition, there were also various rules and orders on the surface of the armor, blooming millions of divine clouds, and countless Tao rhyme rules were like chains of the Tao lingering around the body, with endless mysterious light and gorgeous colors. Not only that. On the surface of the armor, there were actually layers of various patterns engraved, flowers, trees, birds, beasts, mountains and rivers. Almost everything in the world was sparsely engraved on a piece of armor. Fuck. Su Chang'e was shocked. Treasure. This is definitely a treasure. It's almost like the entire world is engraved on a piece of armor. Unbelievable. Too incredible. The next moment. The system voice sounded. System prompt, Panlong Xianjin armor. The ancient emperor Huangdi offered the clan's divine iron to the heaven, and obtained the grace of heaven, which sent down Xianjin meteorite iron. Huangdi used the meteorite iron to cast this item, and the defense increased sharply, and it was invincible. In the Battle of Zhuolu, Qiyu was defeated. The voice fell. Su Chang'e's wrist was shaking slightly with excitement. No wonder this Panlong Xianjin armor is so unbelievable. It turned out to be cast by the Emperor Huangdi. It's a fortune. This time it's really a fortune. He immediately put it on his body. As soon as he put on the armor, he felt a deep and mighty pressure coming down, pressing the body of the saint and making a crackling sound. All the tendons and bones in his body were pressed and bursting with the sound of thousands of troops galloping. This armor is really too heavy. Su Chang'e roughly estimated that it should be tens of millions of pounds. The terrifying gravity almost crushed him to the ground. But he gritted his teeth and stood up with his back straight, like a silver spear that would rather break than bend. It was very heavy, but how could he be afraid? Bang ka ka. At this moment, a sharp explosion suddenly came from his body, and he felt indescribably happy, as if a certain shackle in his body was penetrated under the terrifying pressure and crushed by the pressure. Boom! A strong wave of air exploded from his body and swept away. This is... Su Chang'e's pupils dilated, confused. Boom! The power was rising. 15 million gene. 17 million gene. 19 million gene. 20 million gene. 10 million gene. 50 million gene. 80 million Jin. The power surged to 80 million Jin before it barely stopped. Su Chang'e suddenly felt the pressure on his body suddenly relieved, and was wondering why, when he suddenly understood. The strength of his physical body has increased. Holy! So this is the horror of the holy body, that he suddenly understood the reason. When his physical body became holy before, he did not stimulate the true holy power in his body. And now, under the powerful pressure of the Panlong Xianjin armor, his physical body was accidentally opened, and his holy body was activated, and the true power of the holy body was fully stimulated. A full 80 million Jin of strength. Moreover, it seems that the potential has not been released yet, and it needs a greater stimulation. But now the physical strength is terrifying enough. If it is hit with a punch, I am afraid that even the ancient sacred mountain will be smashed into slag. Suddenly, a strange light flashed on the surface of the Panlong Xianjin armor, and the armor changed in an instant, just like the sea turning into mulberry fields. The Panlong Xianjin armor changed inch by inch, and finally changed into a white robe as light as a cicada's wing, exactly the same as the original white robe on his body, as if it was tailor-made. 1 more inch is too much, 1 less inch is too little. Su Chang'e understood that this was the same as the Xuanhuan armor, which would automatically change to make it convenient to wear. Otherwise, if he wore such a suit to show off in the market, he would be like a fool. It's a hot day, and you are wearing a suit of armor, and it's so fucking heavy, aren't you tired? Awesome! I really made a fortune this time. Su Chang'e's face was full of red, and he was so happy that he couldn't believe himself. Then, he remembered the business. He had to find something to improve his cultivation for Xiaoshi. There were only 2 ways to improve his cultivation. First, spiritual stones. Second, treasures. He planned to go to Tiantai Peak to see if there was any opportunity to intercept. $window, _Tabula equals window, _Tabula, Tabula.push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container. Tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 87. Are you tired of fighting? Then it's my turn. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this moment, Su Chang'e suddenly had an idea and thought of Su Lianyue. Oh, it would be great if Xiao Yan could increase his cultivation level by breathing just like Lianyue. Su Lianyue and him happen to arrive together. He is a saint in human form. Su Lianyue is the soul of a saint. If he and Su Lianyue were together, they would be completely invincible. It is a pity that we can't fit together like this. Forget it, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Xiao Yan has the bloodline of a wild beast, so he is already strong enough. Just after he finished speaking, he suddenly thought of something. Hey, Master has a treasure armor, and I also have a treasure armor, but Lianyue doesn't. This isn't fair. Then if there is a chance, I will also get a piece of treasure armor for Lianyue. That it's not difficult to get a treasure armor for Lianyue. It's just a chance to see if I can cut off someone's hair. It's the same as helping Xiaoshu cut off his hair. Immediately, Su Chang'e dived towards Tiantai Peak. After taking only 2 steps, he suddenly realized something and laughed at himself. Wait a minute, it's not dawn yet, so we can't do it. Now the night is as dark as ink, and everyone in Tiantai Peak is resting behind closed doors. Wouldn't it mean that they have to sleep in the grass? Then we can only wait for dawn. Forget it, let's go back to the house first. He walked toward the cabin. Unexpectedly, at this moment, a black shadow suddenly fell in front of him. Su Chang'e was startled. Unexpectedly, trouble came to my door, but the next moment, he glanced at this person and grinned fiercely. This is a young man, tall and thick, with a strong build and huge biceps, but his cultivation level is only the first level of Hotian realm. Su Chang'e recognized him. He is also from Tiantai Peak, and is Wang Wei's distant cousin. His name is Wang Kong. He relied on Wang Wei's relationship to join him. He has no talent for cultivation. After practicing for many years, his cultivation level has only broken through. The barrier between mortals and monks has stepped into the acquired level. Then, many years passed, and it was still the same thing as it was acquired, without making any progress. It's like my cultivation is stuck, and it won't be upgraded no matter what. To put it bluntly, he is a piece of trash. Now, what is he doing looking for me in the middle of the night? At this moment, Wang Kong spoke. He glanced at Su Chang'e with disdain, flicked his sleeves, cracked the bones and joints of his fists, and said coldly, "Hey, little transparent, I just learned a boxing technique, which is very powerful, and I came here to practice with you." Oh. Su Chang'e looked at him as if he was mentally retarded. Practice on yourself? Are you tired of living in Gobi? There are so many people in the sect, but you don't want to practice with them, but you want to practice with me. Why? Faint words came out of his mouth. Wang Kong didn't hide anything. He sneered and said, "To tell you the truth, I also want to find others to practice, but I am helpless. Others are too powerful. Even a handyman's cultivation is far better than mine, so I can only bully this little transparent guy like you." Fuck. 10,000 alpacas galloped past Su Chang'e's heart. Damn it, are you serious? But think about it, I am not as good as him on the surface. I cannot practice and have no cultivation. He is the bottom of the sect. In this case, it was only natural for him to find himself, but that he suddenly opened his mouth and laughed out of anger. He is now a saint in body, and he is also wearing Panlong Xianjin treasure armor. The terrifying defenses are layered on top of each other. Can he fight? Okay, I'll stand still and let you hit me. Come on. Su Chang'e simply asked him to give him a good beating. Ha ha ha, little transparent, let's see if I don't blow you up with one punch. Wang Kong laughed loudly, clenched his fists, and his bones and joints erupted with a violent cracking sound, like thunder, deafening. Then, he punched hard. Boom! There was an explosion in the air flow vibrated, and there was a hunting sound. This punch hit Su Chang'e firmly. However, something unbelievable happened to Wang Kong. When he punched Su Chang'e, nothing happened. He even didn't move his clothes. However, his fist was so shocked that his bones and joints exploded, broken bones splattered, and blood dripped. Puff puff. It hurts. It hurts. Wang Kang's face changed drastically. He was jumping on the spot in pain, feeling deeply unbelievable. Damn it, what's going on with this horse riding? Come again, come on. Su Chang'e said with a smile. You dare to underestimate me? Wang Kong was furious, gritted his teeth, and used his strength to take action again. Boom 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 boom, point one after another, punches were fired out one after another, hitting Su Chang'e hard. Wang Kong punched 18 times in a row. Each punch was harder and more powerful than the last. In the silent night, there was a deep sound of breathing and fist bumping. Wang Kong used all his strength and hit Su Chang'e as hard as he could. After a burst of attacks, nothing happened to Su Chang'e. Wang Kong was so tired that he was sweating profusely and panting. Are you tired now? Keep going. Su Chang'e looked at him with a smile. I'll beat you to death. Wang Kong suddenly became angry, took a deep breath, and punched Su Chang'e hard with several punches. After these few punches, all the energy in his body was gone. He was really exhausted, so he had to stop and sit on the ground, breathing heavily. Seeing that he was so tired, Su Chang'e smiled unkindly and said coldly, Are you tired from the beating? Then it's my turn. P.S. Everyone should insist on reading 1 million words. You must read 1 million words. There will be surprises. Chapter 88, One Punch Explodes. Su Lianyue enters Nirvana. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You want to kill me? I advise you to give up. You have no cultivation at all, how can you move me? Wang Kong laughed when he heard that Su Chang'e was going to kill him. How could a mortal without cultivation shake him, a cultivator? You know, even if 10 mortal rough men were added together, they couldn't knock down a postnatal cultivator. Su Chang'e never talked nonsense. He clenched his right hand into a fist and punched him directly. Boom! A punch exploded in the air, and the air suddenly transmitted the sound of explosion, as if beating a war drum, thunderous and deafening. Wang Kang's face changed immediately. He stared blankly at the incoming punch. When he sensed the power contained in this punch, he was horrified, his eyes showed endless horror, and he couldn't believe it at all. What kind of punch was this? The air was rumbling, as if it was thunder, deafening, so terrifying. How could he know how terrifying Su Chang'e's body was? The holy body was activated, with a full 80 million pounds of strength. This punch was not a cover. Wait. I admit defeat, I admit defeat. Stop. Stop. Stop quickly. Wang Kong looked at the rapidly approaching punch, his heart was shocked, his face changed drastically, and he gave in directly. It turned out that this little transparent was so strong. If this punch was in my body, I would probably explode on the spot. You're going to give up just because you can't win? Do you think I'm a saint? Su Chang'e smiled coldly, and his iron fist smashed through layers of space. His strength did not decrease, but increased by dozens of times, and he ruthlessly smashed towards him. Wang Kang's face turned pale as paper, and he screamed hysterically, "You can't kill me. My cousin is Wang Wei. If you kill me, he won't let you go." Bang! Su Chang'e punched him hard in the face. Wang Kang's head exploded on the spot, like a broken ball, shattered into pieces, and exploded into pieces. Endless red and white things splashed in all directions. With a plop, his headless body fell heavily and stopped breathing. Su Chang'e retracted his fist, stood with his hands behind his back, and was calm and composed. He deliberately smashed only Wang Kang's head. How else could he pick up treasures? As Wang Wei's cousin, Wang Kong must have some things on him. Su Chang'e bent down and searched his body for a while, but who would have thought that in the end, after searching all over his body, he found nothing. Damn, he turned out to be a poor guy. Su Chang'e cursed, but he soon understood. Wang Wei probably didn't think much of this cousin. After all, who would be willing to give him good things when he was such a waste? The Xian realm is extremely cruel, and the strong prey on the weak. If you are fine, even your relatives will look down on you. This is also applicable in the former Blue Star. Immediately, Su Chang'e turned his head to look at Tiantai Peak and sneered, "Wang Wei, wait for the martial arts competition, I will blow you up with one punch." Wang Kong threatened Wang Wei before he died, right? Well, wait for the martial arts competition, and let Wang Wei go to prison to accompany him. Next, Su Chang'e punched Wang Kong again. With this punch, 80 million pounds of strength burst out, and Wang Kang's body evaporated directly. Under the powerful force, even the blood mist was melted and disappeared. However, there were still some red and white things. Since Su Lianyue was asleep now, Su Chang'e couldn't bear to ask her to wash, so he went to the clear pond to get some water and rinsed the scene. After finishing all this, he raised his feet and returned to the hut. In the hut, Su Chang'e gently pushed the door open and saw Su Lianyue at a glance. At this time, Su Lianyue didn't know whether she kicked the quilt in a dream or something, and the corner of the quilt that was originally tucked in fell down at this moment, causing most of her slender and long snow-white legs to be exposed, white and bright, very charming. At the same time, a fresh fragrance of a young girl wafted into his nose. Like the fragrance of flowers. Just then, Su Chang'e suddenly discovered something, and his pupils suddenly condensed. Fuck, is Lianyue's cultivation so fast? That he suddenly noticed that Su Lianyue's cultivation had unknowingly risen to the Nirvana realm. Moreover, it was still growing steadily. System prompt: Su Lianyue is sleeping. Cultivation +1 +1 +1 +1 +1 +1 +1 +1 +1 +1. Awesome, really awesome. It's worthy of being a saint. Su Chang'e sighed with envy. Who wouldn't envy someone who can improve his cultivation even when sleeping? Having such a beautiful person with both strength and beauty around you, this is so cool. Hey, master. Master. You're back. Suddenly, Su Lianyue opened her sleepy eyes, her face full of surprise. She had waited for Su Chang'e for a long time, but he hadn't come back, and finally, she fell asleep unconsciously. Now that she saw the master coming back, her eyes suddenly burst into brilliant light, flowing like the sky with strange visions, surging with divine aura, and magnificent. Well, I'm back. Su Chang'e pinched her little face and said affectionately, P.S. Thanks to all the big guys for their love. I'm going to add another chapter today, and I'll post it after I finish writing it. Also, I want to ask, is this chapter good? Of course, if you think the words are troublesome, forget it, haha, reading the book is the most important thing, $window, _tabula equals window, _tabula dot push, mode, thumbs, feed, 01, container, tabula, below, article, thumbnail, 300x250, placement, below article thumbnail, 300 by 250, target _type, mix. Chapter 89 Xuanhuan's chance is renewed. Experience baby. Spiritual vein. Spiritual stone storeho. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Early the next morning, it rained a lot, and the air was fresh and fragrant with earth. In the house, Xuanhuan pushed open the door and sneaked straight towards Tiantai Peak. This time, he set his sights on Wang Wei. After walking across the iron lock bridge, Xuanhuan used Taichu's shadow ghost step and quickly sneaked into Tiantai Peak silently. When he came to the shadow of a wall, he took out half of the spirit stone to awaken the Dark Soul Emperor, lowered his voice and said, "Senior. Didn't you tell me to break through quickly last night? Now help me see if Wang Wei has any no good chance." Hearing this, the Dark Soul Emperor was immediately elated. This guy is really on the right track, he smiled and said, "Take me to find Wang Wei." Xuanhuan naturally knew what the Dark Soul Emperor was thinking. He responded quietly, followed the shadows on the wall, and soon arrived at Wang Wei's residence. Since Wang Wei's financial situation was not very good, it was easy to find a place to live, in a collective building outside Tiantai Peak. Soon, Xuanhuan sneaked into the house. In a room, there was a person lying. It was Wang Wei. "Senior, does this person have a chance?" Xuanhuan asked. The Dark Soul Emperor glanced at him, then deduced for a moment, and said, "There is an opportunity, but it's too great, I guess you won't like it either." "Forget it then." Xuanhuan was slightly disappointed and didn't bother to ask what this opportunity was. "By chance, I'm afraid it's just some yellow-rated garbage." Immediately, he changed his target. "After leaving the house, I suddenly ran into Xuanhuan. I saw that Xuanhuan's eyes were red and bloodshot, his hair was disheveled, and he looked like a madman, as if he had gone crazy." "Tama. Who killed my brother? Is it you, is it you?" He stopped one disciple after another, grabbing them by the collar and questioning them angrily. "It's not me, senior brother. How dare we?" Those disciples were so frightened that their faces turned pale. Xuanhuan realized that he was excited. With a wave of his hand, a huge force blew them away. "Hey, this person has a new opportunity." The Dark Soul Emperor glanced at Xuanhuan and suddenly said in surprise, "This person was so blinded by hatred that he almost gave birth to inner demons. He had no intention of practicing." After a cup of tea, he went down the mountain to relax and accidentally entered a cave. That mountain is called at Panlong Mountain. He discovered a shaped spiritual vein in the cave. He was overjoyed, and then absorbed it all. His cultivation skyrocketed, and he broke through 6 realms in a row. Xuanhuan's eyes suddenly lit up. Spiritual veins. It's actually spiritual veins. Damn, that's really good. This person is really experienced. No, chance baby, that's him. Originally, Xuanhuan didn't want to cut off Xuanhuan's opportunity this time, but who knew that his opportunity would actually improve? He is such a baby with experience. This time it was really an unexpected surprise. As we all know, the spiritual vein is a good thing, and there are countless spiritual stones condensed in it, which is equivalent to a spiritual stone library. However, Xuanhuan did not leave immediately because he had to find an opportunity for Lianyue. Immediately, he wandered around and went to the Tiantai Peak cultivation tower. People come and go in front of the cultivation tower, and many disciples come to practice in the tower from time to time. This is also the reason why Xuanhuan came here. Hey, these people seem to be very strong, but in fact they don't have much chance. The Dark Soul Emperor looked at each one for a while and sighed. Hearing this, Xuanhuan decided to give up temporarily. Then go to Panlong Mountain first. He lifted his feet and left. At this moment, the Dark Soul Emperor could no longer hold on and fell into a deep sleep again. Xuanhuan ignored him. He was just a free object of exploitation, but this old guy was always complacent. Following several shadows, Su Chang'e quickly returned to the iron lock bridge. He was going out this time, and he had to explain to Lianyue. After all, she lacked warmth and couldn't leave without saying goodbye. Not long after, Su Chang'e returned to the house again. Lianyue, I have to go out today, but I will be back soon. I won't keep you waiting for too long. He pinched Su Lianyue's face and explained softly. Well, I'll just wait at home for the young master to come back. Su Lianyue was obedient and said softly. Okay, then I'll go. Su Chang'e stood up and left. Son. Watching him leave, Su Lianyue felt empty in her heart. Su Chang'e had just come down the mountain when he suddenly met Xuanhuan, who was also coming down the mountain. Xuanhuan's eyes were red, his inner demons were growing, and his beard was angry. However, he felt that Su Chang'e was unable to practice, and he expected that he would not be able to kill his brother. Transparent, it's very rare for you to go down the mountain. Where are you going? Xuanhuan glanced at Su Chang'e disdainfully and asked casually. Unexpectedly, Su Chang'e didn't even take the bird with him, and headed towards Panlong mountain on his own. Xuanhuan's nose turned gray, his face suddenly changed to anger, and he said angrily, How dare you ignore me? Damn it, wait for the martial arts competition, I will punch you to death. After saying that, he went straight in the opposite direction of Panlong mountain. He originally planned to go to Panlong mountain today on a whim, but when he saw that Su Chang'e was also going in the direction of Panlong mountain, he disdained to be associated with such transparency and went his separate ways. Su Chang'e saw him going in the opposite direction, and he also guessed. Don't you care to be with me? Huh, what a fool. As everyone knows, if Xuanhuan leaves, then he will be advantaged. Originally, Su Chang'e was still thinking about how to get Xuanhuan away, but he didn't expect him to leave without asking. This is cool. Immediately, he didn't waste time and rushed to Panlong mountain. P.S. I looked at the gift list, and the top guy on the list, Dingyu, who loves to eat babao vegetarian soup, gave a total of 39 yuan. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will work hard. So I added more chapters today, a total of 4 chapters. Chapter 90 Target Location. Void Realm. Saber-toothed Tiger. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Panlong Mountain, it is a huge mountain range, stretching for thousands of miles, ups and downs, with endless green jungles swaying in the breeze, making rustling sounds of leaves, which looks extremely beautiful and makes people easily think of adventures. It seems so, in fact, it hides murderous intentions. Deep in the mountains, the dark and dense forests block the sunlight. Under the dense forests, low wolf howls and beast roars can be heard faintly, and sometimes there are amazing momentums. The monsters are fighting each other, eating raw meat and drinking blood, bloody and cruel. When Su Chang'e arrived here, it was noon. He passed by all the way and wasted no time on those monsters. He soon found a cave. This cave is deep in the mountains. There are dense spider webs outside blocking the entrance of the cave, which vaguely reveals the dark scene inside. Although he found it, Su Chang'e was not happy, but his expression was condensed. Because he saw that at the entrance of the cave, there was a young man in a green robe standing at this time. The young man in the green robe, I don't know if he found the clues of this cave, or what happened, holding a sword in his hand, was cleaning the spider webs at the entrance of the cave. It seemed that he was ready to go in. Su Chang'e's heart skipped a beat. If he went in, would it be a pitfall? He hurriedly walked up and said, Brother, wait a minute. This cave is gloomy and there must be a terrifying monster that eats people. You should leave quickly, I will help you block it. A warm current suddenly surged in the young man in the green robe. He decisively put away his sword and said gratefully, Thank you for your reminder, brother, I will leave now. Let's go, the farther the better, Su Chang'e solemnly advised. The young man in the green robe didn't think about it and left quickly. I want to die. This mountain range is full of monsters, advocating the law of the jungle, and is extremely bloody. Therefore, there may be stronger monsters lurking in the cave. It's just that when I came here just now, I suddenly felt lucky and felt that this cave seemed to have an inexplicable attraction to me. I subconsciously felt that there seemed to be some adventure in this cave, but now Su Chang'e reminded me, and I suddenly woke up from my dream. Oh my God, I'm dreaming. Compared with life, what is an adventure? But, when I turned around and left, I suddenly felt empty in my heart, as if I had missed a great opportunity, and my mood became worse. Strange. I didn't think much about it. I was in a hurry to save my life. Watching him leave, Su Chang'e raised the corner of his mouth slightly, revealing a strange smile. He waited until the green-robed man walked away and his figure completely disappeared before he started to move. Boom! A force rushed out of his body, directly shaking the dense spider web into pieces. Then he stepped out, entering the cave. It was dark inside, and a wave of coolness came over him, making it extremely gloomy. It was very deep inside, and you could see the end at a glance. Su Chang'e walked through it step by step, feeling like he was walking in the body of a big snake. The deeper he went, the colder the air became, making people feel like they were in the depths of winter. After walking for about half an hour, Su Chang'e felt that he had walked at least tens of thousands of steps, and gradually there were dots of light in front of him, which were very crystal clear, like a sky full of stars. At the same time, a stream of rich and pure spiritual energy gradually came to his face. But this spiritual energy was very thin. This was because it was far away. Su Chang'e sped up and felt that the deeper he went, the richer the spiritual energy became. His senses were very real and comfortable. Another half an hour passed, and he walked tens of thousands of steps, roughly estimated to be more than a kilometer. Su Chang'e did not walk without thinking, but while walking, he estimated the trajectory he had walked in his mind and groped for the outline of the cave. Slowly, he also figured it out. He seemed to have walked into the cave, and this cave seemed to lead directly to the deepest part of Panlong Mountain. And that small spiritual vein seemed to be bred in the depths of Panlong Mountain. Roar! At this moment, a loud roar sounded, and countless birds flew up from the entire mountain range, flying towards the sky, and countless leaves rustled, shaking the ground. Su Chang'e's eyes condensed. From the darkness, a huge body suddenly jumped out. It was a saber-toothed tiger, and its head alone was as big as a table, with terrifying momentum fluctuations all over its body. This is a 9th-level demon beast in the cave void realm. It must be said that the demon beast's nose is more sensitive than that of humans, and it actually discovered this spiritual vein one step faster than humans. It was clear in an instant, but it was a pity that this demon beast wanted to snatch food from the tiger's mouth, and I'm afraid it would lose its life. Bang! Cha! Instantly, Su Chang'e punched out, and the endless physical treasures in his body were all opened at once. The dragon and tiger met between his palms and fingers, and a terrifying thunderous sound burst out. Blood-red steam came out of his body, and he punched out. One punch, just one punch. A hurricane rose from the ground, the mountains shook, the trees swayed, and the surging blood-red true energy burst out and rushed out. The saber-toothed tiger turned around and left when he saw that things were right, but it was too late. Su Chang'e's punch hit it without reservation. Under the terrifying physical strength, the saber-toothed tiger's body suddenly burst into a crackling sound of bones, and was destroyed inch by inch. With a bang, it exploded into a blood mist. A golden crystal core floated up from the blood mist. The monster beasts in the cave void realm have already condensed crystal cores in their bodies. Once the cultivators absorb them, they can absorb the crystal cores as spiritual energy and increase their cultivation by a large amount. I didn't expect there would be an unexpected gain. Su Chang'e took the crystal core and then put it into the storage ring. Then, he continued to walk deeper into the cave.